All right, we're in. Meeting has started. August 18th, zoning hearing board for 2020 begins right now. I just want to mention right off the bat, we only have 4 members tonight. One of our members is missing. That could result in a tie that would go to the township. So you want to think about that. If you possibly want a continuance on your case tonight, that is something to consider. Other than that, we can move on to our first appeal, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, would be the Timco continuation. Adam, am I correct with that?
Correct, Mr. Chairman. The applicant was ready to go at the August 4th meeting, which, as we all know, got canceled because half the town was without power.
Correct.
So they were ready to go then. One of the witnesses that they needed is not available this evening, so they've requested a continuance. I didn't hear back about whether the September 15th meeting would be okay, because there was, I think September 1st, we don't have anything on the agenda.
Okay.
Mr. Murphy is not available the 15th. He was going to check to see if his associate Joe Blackburn was available to cover for him. So if you'd like, you could make the continuance to September 15th. And if there is an issue with availability or coverage, you could push it to October, or if you wanted to push it to October, you could do that as well.
Well, I mean, I wish we had more. He was more sure. I mean, I'm sure Ed Murphy would rather be.
He has to be at a different municipal meeting that night, so that's why he's unavailable.
We want to make it for the following meeting then. I mean, instead of the 15th, or was it the 15th the meeting?
No, September 15th. He's got a meeting in New Hope.
So he's not available.
And so he was going to check to see if his associate was available to cover it for him. So that's why you could.
I'm okay with that, but I wish I knew that answer.
Yeah, he was trying to check as well. I was in touch with him a little bit earlier today. So you could make it to that one with the possibility that he may not be available, in which case you'd have to move it to October, or you can just move it to October.
I would prefer we just move it to October. That is to me. Now, what's anybody else feel? Anybody else got any ideas?
Is there any time frame limitations if we do that?
If I may, I don't think so. I've been participating, and the hearing was open. And I guess if we get a written request from Mr. Murphy waiving any time constraints, that should be fine. Correct, Mr. Flagler?
Correct. If all the parties are in agreement, there's not the same issue.
I thought we had that already ready with the time.
Yeah, we would just get it again for the additional time.
Well, I would say we go to October. It sounds like to me he's always been a man that's pretty predictable, and that doesn't sound correct. So let's make it the following meeting in October. If everybody's so inclined, I would so move for that continuance for the first meeting in October.
I'll second, and I think that's October 6th, right, Adam?
Yes, October 6th would be our first meeting of October.
Yes. Okay.
I'll second.
We already had a second.
All right, cool.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We move that continuance to October. I'm sorry, what was it? October 7th?
October 6th.
October 6th. All right. That's done. Okay, move that one out of the way. Okay. Number 2. Appeal number 2, number 20-1867, Jennifer Pan. This is a continuance from before. Adam, is there any additional exhibits to enter on this? I wasn't sure how we left this off.
Well, no, this was supposed to be last month, which didn't happen. So
Right.
I'll mark the exhibits now since we didn't mark them previously.
Let's do that.
A1 will be the application. A2 is the site plan. A3 is the impervious surface breakdown. And then there's a similar sheet which we'll mark as A4, which is the impervious surface breakdown calculation. A5, stormwater management, small project volume control. B1, proof of publication. B2, proof of posting. And B3 is the notice to neighbors.
Do we have them here tonight, Jennifer?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. So that being said, do we have any testimony about this particular? I know we talked about this is the one with the trees.
Yes.
Yes. And you are?
I am Jennifer Pan. I live in 908 Morgan Drive.
So you haven't testified at all yet?
No.
Okay. So you need to come up and be sworn in.
Okay.
Okay. Can we swear her in?
Or do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. So explain to us, which we've all are pretty sure what you're doing, what you like to do and how you would like to go about it.
So I'd like to get a swimming pool. I didn't know about the impervious surface breakdown of 1987 when I purchased the home in 2014. So we submitted a plan. It got rejected. I guess because my existing plan, I'm already over it at 21.4%, and the proposed with the pool would put me at 26.7%. So I had the engineer redo the plan again, and he suggested me installing 15, I guess, like large trees, arborvitaes. I already called a couple contractors, and they gave me quotes and stuff like that. And I just have to call them back and let them know if everything is good, and they can come out and put them in for me, because they're pretty big. And he said I need about 15 of them.
And if I may, Mr. Majewski, these 15 trees that she's offering, not that that's the good mitigation, would that be appropriate number to do the mitigation back to at least where she was before?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I just want to ask one more question before I turn it over to the rest of my colleagues. I just feel that you got a 5.3% increase, it looks like, that you're going to use trees to mitigate the difference. I know, I don't know how familiar you are with mitigation and dry wells and seepage pits and using water-loving plants. They're all possibilities, but they all depend on certain maintenance, some more than others. Your particular case is quite a bit of increase. Trees are not something that the board likes because we always worry about the maintenance and how long they live and who's the next guy. But did you, just before I turn it over to the other guys, did you think of any other type of mitigation besides trees? Like say a dry well, seepage pit. Did your engineer talk to you about that, Jennifer?
No, he basically said he did mention something about like maybe a seepage pit, but we didn't really get into it. He just suggested and wrote out the plan with the trees because that just seemed like the easiest way. I don't really know much about dry wells or anyone who would be able to install it or get quotes on that. Like I said, I already did all the research for the trees, but if I had to, then I could make some more phone calls.
All right. Well, I want to ask my colleagues if they would like to comment on this. I know they do. I have some questions, but let me ask you guys to ask her some questions about this based on what we usually do for this type of increase. Anybody? None of my.
Well, I'll just make the comment that I agree with your assessment that usually we try and stay away from trees as a mitigation because subsequent homeowners or whatever can always get rid of trees if there are any and or die, etc. So we tend to grant these mitigation or the variance requests if it's something a little more permanent like a dry well or a seepage pit.
Right.
Okay.
Anybody else like to comment? I have to agree with Pam. I know the board, we do understand that there's a few different methods of mitigation, but we also understand the human being concept. And if there are minor increases in impervious surface, we're sort of okay with water-loving plants or some other type of mitigation besides a seepage bed or a dry well. But on this kind of increase, that's quite a bit.
Can I add something? The engineer, when I look at the plan, when I spoke with the pool company, the additional patio that I added on, I don't know how much this would decrease the impervious surface, but he told me just to add in the patio larger really than what I wanted, just so it could get approved. I have the existing patio on top of my dwelling, but the proposed patio that's right next to it, I'm really only looking to do about half of that. So I don't know if that would help decrease it a little bit.
Well, I'd have to ask Jim that, if you can make that hasty calculation, Jim, if that would make any kind of substantial difference. It sounds like it would reduce it probably half. And you can see that's where we're heading towards, trying to get the impervious surface down to the absolute minimum, since we have a big issue in the township with it. Something you don't need. Jim, could you do a quick calculation on that and see if she's getting closer? I don't know how-
Yes, it'll just take a few seconds. I can't read the handwriting.
Yeah, I had a tough time reading it too. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the diagram, he made the proposed patio the same size as my existing patio that I had when I purchased the home. So I'm positive I'm going to do about half of that. The only thing is I might try to round out the corner from the one side of the patio to the edge of the pool, but that would be minimal.
In regards to the dry well, your pool contractor could also install that because they're going to have excavating equipment out there and crushed stone. So it's something that you can add in with your pool guy. It's not a big deal.
Do you know of any other companies that, like I said, I don't have any knowledge of this. I would definitely ask my pool company, but I would like to get other quotes on that as well.
Well, yeah, I think you can probably go to most landscapers that have backhoes, excavation equipment. But quite honestly, because your pool guy's going to be there, he's going to be digging out anyway.
Yeah.
It's probably more cost effective just to get an add-on price from him if that's the route we decide.
Okay.
I would have to agree with Michael on that. Your equipment's right there. It does make sense. I did it in my house because it was just an exceptionally a lot. And there's no maintenance when it's done, and it really does make a difference. And you'd be surprised. It sounds like to me he didn't even mention it to you, so you may not have been aware. Is that something that you might be okay with? I know you want to cut your patio in half, but Jim's working on those calculations, and that still might not make it. If that was the case, sometimes these seepage beds aren't that big, and they do make they do a hell of a job with the mitigation. And since like Mike said, with the equipment's right there, it's easy to do. That's something you would be agreeable to if it came down to that.
If I had to, I would. I just wanted the trees too, because my whole backyard's completely open. I have about 4 homes behind me. I can see in the windows, and I just figured the trees would be great because I wanted the privacy anyway.
Well, the trees you can plant anyway. That's not a problem. We have no problem with you planting the trees. But we always feel when there's a big percentage, and it's a lot to mitigate with just trees. And if they do die, it happens. They do die, and we can't watch that. It becomes a concern for us. If it's a small amount and they die, well, that sucks too. But it's not as critical. So we'd rather have something that's more permanent and effective, almost for like forever. It's like very little maintenance to it. So as one that particular price, as you asked earlier, you could probably get your pool landscaper or any landscaper out there to do it, give you that price. If you were okay with that. Again, Jim's figuring out the calculations here, but it sounds like to me you weren't even approached to it by that, because how would you know? But it is like the recommended method, that type, because it requires no maintenance. It goes from the homeowner to homeowner. You don't have to worry. Where trees, you do. Yeah.
Mr. Majewski, would you be able to, I guess, calculate how big of a dry well or seepage pit that I would need to have dug out to make it okay?
Yes. If you cut the size of the patio in half, that would reduce your total impervious surface to 25.5%.
Okay.
That would require a seepage bed. And what basically that is, it's a pit that would be 2.5 feet deep You would line that with fabric so that soil couldn't seep into it, yet water would be allowed to escape. That would be filled with a larger ballast type stone, or even just 2A stone that's not, doesn't have the fines in it, it's clean stone. And that would be 2.5 feet deep, 5 feet wide by 21 feet long. Would be able to handle the runoff from that. If you went with the full amount of the patio, which it sounds like you're leaning away from that a little bit, then that size would be a little bit bigger. Then you'd need to make that probably 3 foot wide by 6 feet deep by 21 feet.
Okay. Like I said in the plan, my plan is to cut that proposed patio in half, but then kind of just like round out the corner very slightly to the one edge of the pool, towards the middle of the yard, so that 2.5 feet deep, you said 5 feet wide and 21 feet long, that should suffice.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I would say it sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's done often, myself included. And Jim, they could be different measurements based on how much room she has. Is that correct? Does it have to be those exact dimensions? Can it be deeper or wider, depending on how much room she has? Can that be adjusted?
The dimensions can be adjusted to fit your landscape.
Okay.
It could be curved, it could be more rectangular, it could be longer like a trench. There's a lot of configurations you can use.
Okay.
And this would be where the location that he proposed the trees, towards the back of the yard?
Yes. Or sometimes people put it right off the edge of the decking, and then on top of it, they'll just use the larger ballast stone, sort of like that river rock, so it looks sort of decorative, and water could just run off and seep right into it.
Okay, okay.
Right. And if you have any issues right now with water, it solves all that. I know you probably don't, but all your drain leaders can go into it if it's certain size as well. When I first heard about it, I thought, well, and quite frankly, I'm glad I did it because it solved everything. But anyway, I just want you to understand that the board generally does not approve this much impervious surface increase without that kind of mitigation.
Okay.
So if you tell us you won't do it, then we could do a vote and we'll go from there. If you
Well, I'll call and I'll do what I can.
So what we can do is, if you want, I don't know if there's any public comment on here. Do we have, and is the township participating in this? Is Barb with us?
No, we are not participating.
Okay, you're not. And is there any public comment on this?
No, we have no public comment on this agenda.
Okay. All right, thank you. If you would be okay, I think the board may be inclined to make a motion to approve that with those conditions.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
So with that, I would submit these the new plan with the seepage pit plans to Mr. Majewski.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. And go from there.
Okay.
You be okay with that? How about all my colleagues? What do you think?
I'd be okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Anybody want to make a
I'm
motion?
okay with it. What are the numbers, Anthony? And I'll be happy to make a motion. What's her current, what are we mitigating?
We're mitigating from 20, even if she leaves the patio where it is, it's 26.7% down to 21.4%. It's like a 5.3% increase, if I'm not mistaken. And so we're mitigating that much. If she cuts the patio in half, it's a little bit less, but not much.
Well, I can make a motion that in appeal number 20-1867 to grant the variance requested, subject to the township's approval of mitigation factors that would bring the impervious surface back down to 21.4%. And I think that motion would encompass everything that we've discovered. leaving the caveat that it's subject to the township's final approval.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Anybody got any discussion?
I just
Nope.
want to make sure though, to Mr. Majewski, just to get, so I can get down to that 21.4%, that is that dimensions that you outlined for me for that trench?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure so I get the right numbers.
Okay, no more discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Nobody's opposed. The motion is granted. Okay, submit those plans to Jim Majewski, and we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have to drop for a moment, but I might be back in a little bit.
Okay. Oh, John, where you going, John?
I have another meeting, but I promise I'll be back. I'll try. I'll see.
I didn't mean that, John. Get out. All right. Okay. We're back. All right, that was number 2. Back up. Appeal number 3. Appeal number 3, that was, we're going to do appeal number 3 now, according to the sheet. Well, it's number 4 on the sheet. We're at appeal number 3. I got 19-1846. Maria Jimenez Galvis. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This has been continued a few times, if I'm not mistaken. I got a note here. Several times. I know this goes back a ways.
Mr. Zampiri, if I may, the township had directed me to participate in this hearing, with the first hearing having been held in front of this board February 4th, 2020, at which time the property owner and applicant were present with counsel. My notes, just to help refresh everybody's memory, indicates that this matter was continued, subject to the applicant producing several things. One was the engineer hired by the applicant was to complete soil testing. There was supposed to be as-built plans for the addition.
That's correct.
Completed so that the township could conduct inspections. And lastly, the applicant's wife, Diana, was supposed to attend with all the other additional documents relative to the addition and other impervious work done to the property. I will note, though, when this was scheduled back in May, the board, of which I received a copy, was sent a letter indicating that the attorney was no longer representing the applicant who intended to move forward without counsel. I just want to let the board know that despite the request for documents, I, on behalf of the township, have not seen any paperwork in addition to the amended application that was filed. So I just want to make the township's objection known that there was no additional documents submitted.
I agree, Barbara. I have not received anything as well. And everything you said is correct. We have okay. Are we bringing in the Jimenez's now?
Mr. Zamparelli, if I may, we actually did receive architect's plans for the addition that show how the addition had been built, that are at least a good starting point in order to issue a building permit should the board be willing to grant a variance for the addition. So I apologize if you guys have not received that. I'm not sure what happened with that.
All I have is what
I think we had a 10-page architectural plans that we marked as A4. And I'm not sure if everyone has that, but I believe that was marked.
I have the plan that shows the original addition, with just lines going through it. Is that something did you get information on that, Jim? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and Mr. Flager just noted that the board does have that. I'm not sure if something happened that maybe you didn't get it.
Right.
If maybe our tech guys could bring up the file, it's 0089767, and that's the 10-sheet set of architectural plans. And we could just scroll through that, and you can see the plans.
Okay.
So basically, they prepared a set of plans. The first sheet just shows some general information and how much the addition is in area. The square footage of the first floor is 1,764 square feet, 1,764 square feet. The addition totals 772 square feet, which is a total ground floor area of 2,536 square feet. If you can go to the next page, you can see that they have just a general schematic of the layout of the existing conditions of the house, showing where everything is, the existing room configurations, walls, doors, etc. We can go to page 3. We could see that page 3 also shows the demo that would be done where they're knocking out certain items in order to facilitate the addition onto the house. You can go to the next sheet. And then it shows, you can see they filled in that whole back area with the addition, and that shows the expanded rooms, the bathroom, bedroom, the other items that are on there, along with the information on the sizing of beams, joists, items like that. You can go to the next sheet. We can see they had some general construction notes that outline how they constructed it, the 2x6s at 16-inch on center, etc. We go to the next sheet, A6. It just shows sort of a rear elevation showing how the new addition looks on the house. And then the next sheet sort of shows how it looks with the new dormer, with the one-story addition off the back of the house. And then the next sheet, which I think is the last one maybe, just shows how everything's laid out inside with the items that are needed for a building permit. Next sheet, A9, just shows the roof plan. And then the final sheet shows the dormer and its method of construction. There may be some additional items that would be needed by our building inspector during the code review of it, but the plans do show the addition in sufficient detail in order to be able to conduct an inspection and make any modifications that would be necessary.
Just for the addition you're talking about.
Correct.
So what about all this other impervious surface that's been put in after that addition? I thought there were some issues with permits here, if I'm not mistaken, besides that addition.
Well, actually, they didn't put in a permit for this addition either. And that, you may recall, it's been a while that was one of the issues that the township had, that they had, we actually came out to inspect a swimming pool that had been constructed with a permit. And while out there, our building inspector noticed that they had built a whole addition without building permits, and they were cited, and we've been working through that process now for quite some time in order to get to this point. They finally came up with the architectural plans for the construction that they didn't get permits for. I know that was one of the issues, that is this thing even worthy of staying up?
Well,
Questions. And that's why they provided us with the architectural plans, just to show that it actually was done by an architect, and maybe with some minor modifications is suitable for habitation.
I understand that, but I'm still all this other additional stuff. The pool, yes, the permit. But I thought we were concerned about how are we going to figure in impervious surface that an addition takes up when they added a basketball court and all these outlying patios around the pool. Shouldn't they? How do we bring them into play now that we have this architectural diagram of the addition? I got that, but does that consider all that now? And how do we go from there?
And if our IT guy could bring up the file original plans appeal 19-1846. That plan shows a plan view of all of the items that had been added on the property. And that shows,
That's what we have. Yeah.
right.
That's what the board members have.
And that shows not only the addition, but also the concrete around the pool. That the pool itself was permitted with some decking, but
Yeah.
then they expanded that decking. They added the slab for the basketball court. They added the shed and some other minor issues, minor things.
Well, I feel, okay, I understand the pool part and the decking around the pool, 3 feet, that makes it fine. And they got a permit for that. They didn't get the addition. And maybe that addition, now that we have it, if we wanted to try to bring that in and permit that or give a variance for that, might be okay, but can we do that with all the other stuff that's been added now? The basketball court and these other pavers, and what are we trying to do here? Just do one at a time? And I don't understand how we're doing this.
Well, I think maybe the applicant needs to maybe try to make their case to you.
I think so, because that's, I agree. Now, that brings the applicant back. You understand what he's bringing up?
Yes, we understand.
So explain to us how all this happened. And
Can we have everyone sworn actually before we
Oh,
get
yes.
into it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You swear them in, Bill?
I do.
Are you sworn? Are they sworn in?
I don't think we are. Are you
I don't see the court reporter. He didn't come on yet.
Yeah, well, here he comes. Mr. Campbell? It is Mr. Campbell, right?
We lose the court reporter?
He was
I
here.
believe we've lost the court reporter.
He's listed as a participant.
Oh, there he is.
Tony,
He was here.
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There he is, Bill. All right,
Let me, I'll swear them all in and then they can identify themselves.
thank you.
I do solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Can you please identify yourself for me?
My name is Diana Antero.
Can you spell your name for me?
Diana. Last name is Antero.
Okay.
Okay, what's your first name again, miss? I'm sorry.
Diana.
Can you explain to us, you can hear what I was saying to Jim. Explain to us how this went as far as chronologically, so we can understand what permit you sought, what permit you didn't, what you thought you could do, what you didn't do.
So we had our contract came out. We wanted to do an extension in the house. And we just kind of, it's the first time we have bought a house. So we just kind of assumed that he was going to take care of everything permit wise and everything. But then we wanted to add a pool. So we, and then all the pool guys came. And then we were like, oh, some patios would look really nice. And then, the basketball court for my little brother. So it was like, we wanted to get that done, but we really didn't really know that we needed any permits for them. So that was kind of the chronological order for them.
So when you got the pool, though, you did get a permit.
Yes, but the pool people took care of everything.
So they said you had to get a permit.
Yeah, so we didn't we had nothing to do with any of the permits that were taken out. We kind of just assumed that the contractor would take care of everything. But obviously he didn't.
Right. Yeah, that's an issue. And plus, did you do all the work with the same contractor or different contractors?
It was the same.
Yeah, that's where we have an issue.
Yeah, and we can't get a hold of him anymore, so it's not like.
Well, in our position, you have a lot of, what's the R3, 30%, Jim?
Yeah, 30%, and we have 36.
Yeah, so, not for nothing, you can see where I'm heading here. I mean, the addition's up. I understand that. And Jim's right about that. We could do that from those drawings, which I don't have, but he needs them, and we all would need them for that approval. But, even with that, I don't know what it would be with just the addition, Jim, as far as the impervious surface level. if they had just the addition and the pool. Do you know what that number would be? I hate to put you on the spot, Jen. But if they did that addition and the pool, which really would just be the sidewalk around it, would they be exceeding the 30%?
Let me check. I believe so, but it'll take me a few minutes.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll go on with her. And going back to you, so you see, once you got a little bit extra because you're 30%, which is pretty good. But now you have all these other things you added, and don't get me wrong, they sound great. But now we have an issue. You have so much extra, and it does make a difference in the neighborhood. Now, I don't know if your neighbors have any water issues. You can say they don't, or whatever, and then they may not. But it does come down to that is the procedure that everybody must follow. So what do you have, if for by chance, like, I understand the addition may work out okay, Jim's working on that with the pool. The pool doesn't take up impervious surface. But that basketball court and all those outlying patio things you got on the pool, they do. Do you have, I mean, are you prepared to remove some of this if you can't mitigate this?
I mean, not right now. Like, my parents aren't working because of, COVID. No.
That's it. Everything's already there. It's not like it's not been built. It's all built.
We did get an engineer. I don't know if that makes any difference, but we did get an engineer, and he's supposed to do a stormwater design.
Okay.
I can show you the plan that he gave us. If I can just screen share with you real quick.
Go ahead. Explain to me what he's got.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
I can see you.
I think she has to be authorized to share the screen, or no? Is that correct,
Yes.
Adam? Or
Yeah, it's
I can't see your screen. I can see you. Go
ahead, try again. You should be able to. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not letting me.
Okay.
So you're saying you have an engineer now.
Yeah, so we did get an engineer.
Let me finish. Your engineer he understands what I'm saying.
Yes.
So does he have his drawing that you see? We don't, but we understand it. Does it have it where it's mitigated down to the original 30%?
So that was what we were wanting to ask today, just to get a continuance, just so he can get the storm water design. And then from there, we can move on to get a plan so that we can tell you that how we're going to reduce that. But we wanted to get, the design, we wanted to work with him first so that he can help us, lessen that percent.
Okay. Jim, so right now they need to submit plans for the addition, which you say they've done. We haven't seen it, but that doesn't really matter to us. You have. And they would also need to submit something for the impervious surface mitigation. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there's where we are. Now, Jim, in your opinion, you've seen the site. I know it's crowded. You think they can pull off the mitigation with all the stuff still there in place?
With all of the stuff, it would be difficult. Removing some of it would make it a lot easier. I would have to look at the design.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
not saying it's impossible, but
Right.
It's
I
difficult.
wanted to bring it up to her and her engineer that it's a little bit unusual to have that much coverage. And these things have to be put in certain places that will work effectively. So I guess in this case, are you asking for a continuance on this?
Yes, so that we can, better answer everything after talking to our engineer. We did talk to him a while ago, but his office was closed, so he hasn't been able to do anything. So yeah.
You understand though, you would be obligated to submit something that would mitigate you down to 30%, submit plans for that addition so we can give you a permit for that, even though it was done already and we made a mistake, okay. But we need all that before we can go any further.
Mr. Zamparelli?
Yes.
May I ask who is the engineer that they've hired?
His name is Nick Rose. He works for ProTrack Engineering.
I'm sorry, he works for what group?
ProTrack Engineering.
PROTRACT
Yep.
in Hatboro, I believe.
Yes. Hatboro.
So to avoid any complications or inconsistencies, your engineer probably should work a little bit with Jim Majewski.
Yeah, he told us that he actually knows Jim. He told us that he's worked with Jim before.
Everybody knows Jim.
Mhm.
Yeah, he told us that he's worked with Jim before and he could reach out to him if needed be.
He's a busy man. So, but you understand what you need to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody? Barbara, do you have anything else to say on the township point of view?
No, I think the township understands that they were, shysted by the contractor,
Right.
but at the same time, that's a 14% increase in impervious surface coverage, which could create some significant stormwater issues. So I'm glad they've secured an engineer. I just hope that it can continue since this has, been going on since February. And I understand the COVID hasn't helped much. But I would like to see maybe Mr. Rose get in touch with Mr. Majewski sooner rather than later so that we know things are still moving forward.
I think that's an excellent idea. This goes back, I have notes back to 8/20/2019, quite frankly. That's a long time.
Yeah, so Mr. Nick said that he did do a soil testing because that's what we were asked to do. And then in the soil testing, he said that there is minimal flood hazard in the area and like our area. So.
Well, we have, you should always be in contact with our local office, our engineer, to get the fine facts of different pervious surface in different areas. We have a few different numbers. So if he is in contact with Jim, he knows Jim, that's a good step. And I would encourage you to get him to contact Jim sooner than later. I think this is going on long enough. We'd all like to move on, but we got to have certain things in place.
Yes.
So you are
asking for continuance for, I guess, to the September meeting. I mean, I think that we can make a motion to continue it, provided that the applicant provide the soil testing, because it's my understanding that the township is not in possession of that. We're not, as zoning hearing board, we're not in possession of that. So actually, I'll make a motion to continue this matter until the September 15th meeting. That's 4 weeks from today. Provided that the applicant provide the soil testing to the township and the zoning hearing board, and provided that the applicant's engineer contact the township with his,
Analysis.
I'm thinking that we need a complete plan by then. Your impervious surface mitigation, what you plan to do, your soil test, fine, everything.
I would agree. A complete plan
Not
to
just that soil test,
solve
everything.
the problem.
And if you can do it in a month, great. Can you do that?
Okay. Yeah.
We need everything.
We're gonna speak with our engineer and yes.
So everything, you need design.
I think we need a motion.
I'm sorry, I lost contact. So, okay, you want to redo that motion, Pam?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll move to continue appeal number 19-1846 until the September 15th meeting, provided that the applicant produce the soil testing to the township, and provided that their engineer produce their complete plan to the township and the zoning hearing.
For mitigation as well. We have to put that
Plan
in
for mitigation.
everything. So we can go by then. So just in case, I have a fear that there's not enough room to put the mitigation without removal of things. So I want everything in place and present it to Majewski before that meeting. I mean, I don't know if that's a lot or a little, but Jim, is that something she can accomplish in a month?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
So just a question, for the addition, do we need a certificate for a contractor?
I'll have to work with our building code official on how we'll handle this.
Right.
And then we'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
We didn't.
Was that seconded by anybody?
No, it was not.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm very concerned that this has been continued for a year.
I am too. It's been over. Like I said, the same things. That's why I'm saying this needs to be done by then.
Yes.
And Jim says it can be. So I'm looking right now. I got a note here. I'm going back to, I'm telling you, 8/20/2019.
Yeah, I mean, that's a year.
Time. So we need it all by the 15th or the 16th, whatever date that was, for the next meeting. Complete. If you have any questions about what we're saying right now, you need to contact again Jim Dubjewski, and he can probably explain it to you again. But don't waste this time. Okay.
Okay.
I agree with Matt completely. It's been way too long, and we've given you the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Any
you.
other discussion?
I don't think we voted.
We didn't vote yet.
Need a vote.
No, I'm waiting for any. All those in favor?
Excuse me, Anthony, public comment. We do,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
we do have someone in the call, Hector. I'm not sure if he's here for public comment. He came in right at the last minute. So we'll see if Hector has public comment.
Hector, you're muted. You have to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
We do.
Yes, I'm a contractor in New Jersey.
Hector, if he's sworn in,
Yes, sir, I do.
is he sworn in? Does he have to be sworn in?
Yes, sir.
Hector, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Bill, or Hector.
Hector, can you tell me your last name?
T as in Tom, Igreros.
Okay.
All right, Hector. Tell us what you want to tell us.
All right. I was talking to Ms. Maria about how I can help them out, but I just gotta wait and see what is it that you guys want them to do in case you want any certificates or go back and reopen any walls or check on insulation on any of the other stuff. So I just waiting on you guys to get the final information. But I guess with the engineer and the architect, we just have to wait for them so that they can get the approvals or get any other demo that you guys asked them to get done.
Well, once you get this thing submitted, the inspectors will decide on how much they want removed. If they want to removed, so we have to wait for that. But we need everything else submitted. You're going backwards here. We're trying to help you out, but there's a possibility that things may have to be removed. Yes.
All right, yeah, not a problem. I was just listening. She asked me to join them, so that way, in case they didn't understand anything about the construction issues.
Right. Did you do the addition, Hector?
No.
Just check. All right. Well, you understand what I'm saying. We can't answer that, but generally, I'm an inspector myself, and I will weigh it up when I get there. And I say, well, I need a slice cut out here to see if you did this right. Take all the receptacles out and drop. The building inspector may want to look at headers over windows. Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. They have footings. Yeah, that's what permits are for.
Friend of mine, so I just try to help them out as much as I can with whatever issues they have.
Well, that's great, but we understand we need to know. So
Sure,
and the next guy.
Yes.
Anything else you want to ask?
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. I'm okay.
You sure? Cutting out, so I'm just going to wait.
I got no more questions.
Okay. Anybody else for public comment?
No, we have no more public comment.
Okay, so now we're looking for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
For the continuance? All those against? Did everybody say aye? I didn't hear one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? No. All right. The ayes have it. You have the continuance to September 16th. Come back with everything. And in the meantime, talk to Jim Majewski with your engineer as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. I only had to be here for those two matters. Have a good evening.
Have a good night, Barbara.
Thanks.
See you,
Bye-bye.
Barbara.
All right, Barb, thanks. All right, where are we at? 4?
Munns.
Oh, the Munns. All right, hold on. I got it right here. Munns, step right up. Any exhibits, Adam?
Yes. Just a few. A1's the application, A2 site plan, A3 is the it's titled like zoning sheet, but it's basically, I think, the impervious surface breakdown. B1 proof of publication, B2 proof of posting, and B3 is the notice to the neighbors.
Okay. You got it in there. All right, who's up there? We have Munns. Who's coming up? Jim Munns? You sworn in? Tell us about your appeal. Well, Bill Munns, have you? Is he here? Appeal number 20-1868.
I brought two people into the call, Peter Giles and Patrick Caney.
Yeah.
Those are the two people that I had for the call.
Yeah, so Peter's the representative from Munns and I'm the homeowner.
Okay, you need to be sworn in.
All right, whoever's going to testify will swear you in. So you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys both identify yourselves and spell your last name for me.
Patrick Caney, last name's Kahney.
Peter Gillis, Gilles.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Adam, you got any exhibits they're in, I assume? Tell us what you're trying to do. Hello?
Peter?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody speak.
We are, the Caneys are doing a addition off the rear of the house to, expand the kitchen. And on top of that, we have the second floor addition.
Mm-hmm.
It's 114 square feet addition. And that represents a 0.8% increase in the impervious surface. And that's why we're here tonight.
I saw this. I'm looking for my map. The addition, what the heck did I do with it? It's the first and second floor. Now, on that one drawing, how did I do it? Give me a second. Oh, here it is. Behind me. I see your addition. Back corner of the house or the front corner of the house. That's an existing deck right now.
Yeah, back corner of the house, existing deck to be removed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so and then that's gonna become a room, and then you're gonna build on top of that. Am I right there, or is that already there? The second.
Correct. No, well, the second floor exists. We're just using the area of the first floor to expand out and expand the two rooms that are on that second floor.
When I look at your impervious surface calculations, I see 114 square feet. Now, I assume that's based on just that little bit of deck area.
That's just the addition, the building envelope addition, the ground floor piece, 114 square feet.
Okay. Right now, I see that. And your impervious surface is going from where? Just 0.8%.
Well, existing is 18%. Well, no, I'm sorry. The required is 18%. Their existing was 21.8%. So we're adding 0.8%. It brings it to 22.6%.
Let me ask you something real quick. Are you the owner of the house? Are you the owner?
No,
Okay.
I am.
The owner of the house, did you do any additions or any improvements to the house since you bought it?
Yeah, but I built a dormer into the attic on the third floor.
Okay, so nothing that would have anything to do with impervious surface then?
Correct.
Okay, and did you get a permit for that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, your calculations are 21.8%. Jim, is he correct there for the original existing impervious surface? Jim?
We've reviewed their calculations, and both the existing and proposed numbers they have on their plan are accurate. It is a 114 square foot increase in impervious surface, up to the 22.6%.
Less than a percent. Less than a percent. It's a little small increase. On these kind of cases where there's a small increase like that, there's a couple of different ways to mitigate the increase. If you have any idea what you planned on doing to mitigate the increase, or did you think about it at all? I know it's only 0.8%, but every percent counts.
we never discussed mitigation techniques. So we were seeing how it went.
Yeah, right. So something like this, I'm going to refer to the board. What we think would be appropriate here. We usually at 1% or less, we have a little bit of a different approach. Does anybody want to comment on this right now about what they would like to see this gentleman do to get his little addition approved with the small increase that he has?
Since it's under a percentage, can we just approve it without having to do any mitigation or just plant a tree?
I like to plant a tree. Yes, because tree is something. But yes, I agree. I don't think we need anything major, and we'd be following our protocol and basically following the precedent in the past. I don't know what it would take, Jim. What could we need to do this to make this easy for this guy? It doesn't sound like he's doing much.
You could just approve it as submitted. They do require under our stormwater management ordinance, which is outside of zoning, to mitigate the minor increase in impervious surface.
Yeah.
And there's ways they could do it. They could plant 2 trees. They could put a small little seepage bed in. And there's a few other ways they could do it, a couple of rain barrels.
Right.
And that would be appropriate. So you could just approve it as submitted. For their building permit, they will need to show something.
So we just say approved, and you guys are in the permit office. They would decide what needs to be done to approve the permit. They may ask for a tree or so or nothing. We don't have to actually stipulate.
Correct.
Okay. I'm okay with that. Anybody want to say
I'm
anything?
okay with that too.
Yep, I'm good.
I mean, it's such a minor thing. I mean, but okay. All right. That being said, the applicant, you're okay if we do request a tree or two just to have water sucking plants and alleviate that 0.8%. Would you be okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. And you'll take care of them for the rest of your life. Make sure they don't die.
I will. I'll give them a name and everything.
I guess at this point, is there any public comment on this? I think you said no. Everybody was gone. Any public comment?
No public comment.
All right, well, then I guess I'll ask for a motion here on this. Everybody?
I'll make the motion to for appeal 20-1868 approved as submitted.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. All right, you're approved. Go.
Thank
There
you.
was no public comment. No public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, just stay in contact with the permit office. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
It's approved.
What's next, guys?
I think we just need to formally cancel the September 1st meeting since we don't have agenda items. And then the next meeting will be September 15th.
Okay, who did we continue tonight? The Munez, right? That was continued. Let's see. Jennifer was done, or is she? Did we continue her? That's the basketball. She's got to be back there. All right. So, so we made a motion to. I thought we canceled the September 1st meeting already. No,
I don't think we did yet.
okay.
No.
All right, and we have nothing for that day.
No.
All right, well, make a motion to cancel September 1st meeting. Somebody?
I'll make a motion to cancel September 1st.
We have a second?
Second.
Second, no discussion, I'm sure. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? The ayes have it. September 1st meeting has been canceled. Now, September 15th, we will have a meeting. Do we have to do anything for that, Jim? Or Adam?
Yes.
What do we need?
I think we continued Galvez to the 15th, didn't we?
Jimenez, right, Galvez? Yes.
Yeah, we have a few things I think on the agenda for the 15th.
Yeah, there's a few things. Right. Man, I can't throw nothing away here. I hate that. All right, so what else are we gonna do?
That's it. We just need to adjourn.
End the meeting?
That's it. I'm just trying to hang in here for small talk.
Yeah, just need to adjourn.
All right, motion to
Make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second. And all right, aye. We all those approved. Say aye.
Approved.
Let's get out of here. All right,
All right.
thanks, guys. Great
See y'all.
job.
Good night.
All right, thank you. See you next time.